This is BleedTV, the only podcast for today's best shows and movies. I'm Zack.
And I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And I'm Kelly.
Woo! There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest to be our fourth host tonight, and that is the wonderful Kelly Choi. She is she is an Emmy-winning host and producer and major foodie and just a pop culture, fanatic, as well as a BleedTV fan. And
absolutely a fan of you guys, yeah.
And we are extremely happy to have you on the show and to talk WestWorld. It's a dream come true for Cash.
It really is.
Oh,
I mean, you try to text every once in a while. She's super busy.
Yeah,
I'm going to take 2 seconds to say that what I love about the podcast is, of course, there are so many WestWorld podcasts out there, and I fumbled upon yours one lucky day. And what was so infectious and great about you guys is that you're super detail-oriented, and you go through the show, and you have your style, but you guys have a lot of fun with it. And when I hear you guys laughing and, ultimately this is pop culture, it says a lot, sure, about our society and all that, but ultimately we should have fun, and that's what you guys do, and that's what I love about BleedTV.
Well, good. And we're coming off exactly how we want it to.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, we could have asked for a better...
Yeah, really, I'm kind of drooling. Anybody got a napkin?
Yeah, a little rundown right there. Right?
That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. It was a great night, But yeah, I appreciate that, Kelly. It means a lot. That's as we always say, it's the best paycheck in the world to hear somebody say they enjoy our show. And
totally.
So that's what we're all about. But to speak of shows, tonight is WestWorld. This is Season 2, Episode 3. It was called, Virtu e Fortuna. Was that what?
That's
very
good for
good,
me.
very good.
I mean, I'm willing to bet there's probably a much better pronunciation, but considering that we're in Mississippi, that is pretty damn good.
Hey, my ninth grade Latin teacher would have been proud.
There you go.
What's the title about, though? Was that the password that ended up working? What is...
Man, I actually have no idea.
Well, I mean, Virtu et Fortune, that's just...
Kelly, any ideas
lucky,
what the title meant to you?
I did look this up. I mean, I was reading some stuff about the title because it of course, gives us a clue into what this episode is all about, but it's based off of Machiavelli's The Prince, which is basically a principle about how to be like the best ruler, right?
Okay.
So Virtue is, I read something today basically saying that it was written in Italian, Machiavelli was Italian, and the word virtue is apparently mentioned something like 89 or 85 times, don't quote me exactly, but in the Prince itself, it's mentioned that many times, yet when it was translated in English, there was never a perfect word that apparently captured exactly what it meant in Italian, but it's a derivative of self-reliance or ability, strength, the talent that someone has, that's virtue. And then Fortuna, which sounds like, fortune is luck. So it's they're kind of in opposition with each other, but yet a good ruler supposedly has to have both to be a great, leader.
Well, to me, that just makes it sound like that's describing Dolores' situation.
Yeah, right. And Maeve at times, I would say.
Yeah, you could even say Maeve as well. Like Maeve is becoming really lucky by her situation, but Dolores is very concise and cunning and making strategic moves. Mm-hmm. For all you know, that means one and the other, like the yin and the yang, is what the title is of the two girls.
Mm-hmm,
I could see that.
You know what I mean?
But Maeve, they just didn't give her many leadership things in this episode.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she was too lucky this episode, that's for sure. But I don't know. They're never easy answers in WestWorld, so...
Yeah.
A lot of digging, as Kelly just proved by having this surf, Machiavelli's The Prince, and then seeing how many times they appeared in print and whatnot.
We're going to pay you double for what you're getting in this one. Yeah. So... let's just dive into the show, man. I'm just salivating here. This is a cold open, which is only the second time this has ever done it. And we go right into Rajworld, which is the British settlement of India.
I got a huge mummy vibe. I don't know about y'all, but that was the closest thing that I saw resembling the opening of
Were
this.
you hoping Brendan Fraser was going to run out
a little
there
bit?
and holler?
Brendan Fraser killed it.
I mean, golly. Anyway, we'll get back to the show. Thank you, Cash. And
I had to double check to make sure I was watching.
Have you guys seen him in Trust?
In Trust?
Is he back?
Yeah, he's back. He's doing Trust. He's got the cowboy hat on, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, I don't think too many people are watching Trust. I kind of have been here and there. But he's supposedly trying to make a comeback. So Speaking of the Mummy and Brendan Fraser.
I'd love to see the size hat for that big swollen head of his.
Lord,
probably like a 10 and 3/4.
Oh, Jesus. Barry Bonds hat.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, the Indian world, we have two new characters we've never seen before. We have a guy who's on a balcony, notices a pretty girl at the table. They interact with each other. It leads to a conversation, thus leading to a passionate exchange into a bedroom. Then she makes him prove that he's human by shooting him with a very specific handgun. This is
but it's a world gun.
Yeah. And so the bullet detection is still on and everything, and so that's why it just bounces off of him.
Yeah.
It's because he is human.
But this is new. This is a new scenario where two guests are bored of hosts, and they only want each other's company. You know what I'm saying? They want
true sin.
They want guest company instead of having the sure thing, like she says.
I didn't even look at it like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I just thought that she was making sure that WestWorld wasn't trying to get more information out of her. I saw it was more paranoia than anything.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I thought this was people only wanting to deal with host.
Huh.
I mean, guest. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's... is that what you were getting, Kelly, or...
I think, Cash, I was more along the lines of what you were saying in that, I definitely felt like I watched the first run. I've watched it twice now, and I always watch my shows with closed captioning. And they named the guy. They named him Nicholas. Now, I don't think I saw the girl's name, but when I was reading up on like WestWorld sites, Delos' sites, her name is apparently Grace.
Yeah,
that's correct.
They never gave her a name in the show, but it was in the credits.
Yeah, but IMDb had it too.
But I definitely felt like Nicholas, our first gentleman guy, was very keen on getting to know this supposed Grace. But I felt more that she was super jaded. She was, I'm not sure if wary is the right word, but she was definitely like, listen, like, what the F do you want? Sort of. Until, of course, you cut straight away to the bedroom scene, like Zack was saying. But she definitely seemed like she knew what the place was about, or she had at least been there before. And I feel like Nicholas was, because he was sort of, trying to say, like, what were you doing here? Are you on the safari for Bengals? And I definitely got the vibe more that he was interested in, like, let's get it on with another human being or, host or whatever. He just wanted some excitement, and I felt like she was a bit over it.
She came off to me as being there a long time and him being a new guest, because he showed signs of being novice, and where she showed several signs of being bored and had been there for long periods of time. And one of the big theories, and one of the first ones we can talk about, is who she is. And one of the theories a lot of people are throwing out there is that she's possibly one of two or three people. She could be the Men in Black Williams' daughter. She could be, Delos, a descendant of Delos, like a daughter or somebody. Or she could be an agent for some other faction, and I think she has a lot to her character. There's a reason they showed that she's, like Men in Black, she's tired with the place and she knows way too much, and her only excitement was dealing with somebody who's not there to appease and do everything you want. So to me, I think she's pivotal. I just don't really have a sense of where or who she might be, because Men in Black's daughter is supposedly Emily, or this show could just be telling you Grace just to throw us off, but because they never named her in the show.
Yeah, so I think they're still holding that off.
I don't know. I got the strange vibe of like the man that's drugged to the mall with his wife and is stuck out there holding a purse. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Almost like her husband comes to the park all the time, brings her along, and she's just bored as shit of doing this all the time. And I thought maybe she's like, well, I'll hunt tigers because I can,
get away from my husband and
get away from my husband. Do something fun, interesting, instead of what he normally wants me to get involved with. I don't know. I'm probably way off base, but...
she's definitely been there a few times. Like, that much we can gather.
But the jaded word that Kelly said, that fit perfectly to me. So,
well, because, like, there's a lot of theories that she was a younger Teresa or something, or even possibly her daughter.
She looks like Teresa.
Yeah, she kind of does.
Strikingly similar. Has a lot of the same tendency. Her hair's, like, pretty much the exact same color, wavy.
Timeline doesn't fit though.
It doesn't fit
Not
in the
at all.
slightest. But like, I feel like there's some kind of relation just because the personalities are so fitting.
All right. Well, does anybody think this is just truly to show us why the Bengal tiger in the water?
Absolutely not.
I think there's way more to this than just
to
showing
this
us.
girl, yes.
Yeah, there's way more to than just giving us background for our tiger.
But it could easily be just to show us the fact that we now know there are 3 parks.
Yes.
You know, the Asian or
Shogun World is
Shogun
essentially, I
World
think, what it's being called.
was kind of hinted at in the trailer, but not this,
Scene.
What's it called?
Rajworld.
Rajworld.
Is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
Yeah, it's RAJ.
Okay, that wasn't teased.
No.
But this was, so it's kind of like maybe they're just showing you how expansive this
This part,
this area is,
right?
And we actually know that this Rajworld is Park 6 because I think it was the opener in season 2 where Stubbs says this tiger is from Park 6.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
is true.
That is absolutely correct.
So if we've now seen 3, it's TBD as to what the other 3 will be. So that was pretty interesting.
Well, and I mean, there's still potentially 7. I think for some reason, I think there's 7 worlds. I don't know why, but I thought I saw that number floated somewhere. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the Raj world is that I was looking up some stuff about Raj, and apparently the region, there's a region in India called Rajasthan, and that's bordering the northwest between India and Pakistan. And that is one of the last few locations in India where you can actually go on Bengal tiger safaris and hunts. Now, at that time, I guess, what is this, like the turn of the century sort of thing? It was
yes,
British colonial. So I guess that's why Delos and WestWorld
Kind
and
of
HBO is
painted
calling it Rajworld or Rajasthan, perhaps for short.
That makes total sense. Total sense.
It makes total sense in this era of political correctness too, to pick a city that still allows Bengal tiger hunting, instead of picking a city that's like, hey, you're putting us in a bad light.
Yeah.
We don't do that shit anymore. You know what I mean?
You can't hunt Cecil the Lion here. Get out of there.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
All right, so they get done with their thing, and they get on these elephants, which were cool as hell.
Oh, wait, hold on. Like, if a girl needs to shoot you with a gun to sleep with you, like, are you still going to want to have anything to do with that? Because I was just like, there's no way. If someone's like, I got to shoot you, I'm out.
I'm gonna be
That
honest.
guy was hard up for her, though. He wanted her.
But okay,
He
but
was
Kelly,
down.
so if a guy wants to shoot you to prove, like,
Yeah, okay.
hey, I don't know.
What you might find is a disturbing kink that you could be like, I have to be shot before I can have sex with anybody now.
I think that would be even worse. Like, hold on, guys. I need a
But
bulletproof vest first.
that is a great point, though, because the fact that she needs to shoot him to know for sure whether or not he's really into her or whether or not he's a host, I think it gives more credence to that idea that she could be Man in Black's daughter, because that would sort of explain why she's, over it. Like, she wants to know.
For sure.
I mean, we'll get to it, I think, in a minute, but the fact that she was able to run away and kind of know where the edge of the park was, it seemed to give us the idea that she knew where to go pretty, I can't imagine if I was running from something, I don't care if it's a Bengal tiger or whatever, I can't imagine that I'd be able to run, pretty quickly to the edge of the park and get out of there, and she seemed pretty confident in knowing, what was up.
Yeah, it's
So-
almost just
Yes.
running off of instinct instead of,
Right.
stumbling around.
Yeah, there was no doubt about that.
And even though they call her Grace, the age seems like it could work, that she could be Man in Black's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, this
we'll
is
see, of
very
course.
easily, 30 years? 35 years since Bernard died. And
Right.
so she's, at least 40, you would say, roughly?
I don't know.
Maybe. She could be
I don't know.
under
Well, I mean,
40.
because-
May- I don't know about 40.
I'm thinking
but
30,
definitely.
maybe.
Well, the thing is,
30.
the reason I was saying 40 was because I don't think she was alive before Bernard died. I think she was born after Bernard, so it then probably is younger.
yes, I mean Bernard died 35 years ago, so
I hope I look that good at 40.
yeah.
Good lord.
All right,
You're
so
halfway there. You're
They
doing
get
pretty good,
they
bud.
get the elephants. They move on to these tents where I guess before the hunt, they have the safari hats, which I think are ridiculous, but whatever. And they get down, and all of a sudden, the hosts all disappear. She immediately realizes something's off. This is another reason where I feel like she has a ton of experience.
Yes.
The guy's
Yeah.
not really sure about it. and they come across some older guests that have been shot and killed, and only the guide comes up with a double-barrel rifle, thus killing her companion.
And she knew the guides by name.
Correct.
Yeah, Ganju.
Exactly.
Wait, Ganju, no.
Fantastic name. Poor Nicholas. Like, he's thinking this is like an extensive game of Clue or something.
Yeah,
There's
really.
like candlestick right back there.
To me, I wonder if it went before the bullet went through. I was like, does this mean I get laid again?
Yeah. Oh. Wait, I already know what to do. I'll just lay here. Don't worry.
Well, he says maybe they're just giving us some privacy.
Right.
All right, so he gets shot. She grabs this double-barrel shotgun,
Sawed off. Let's
sawed
go.
off, that has got this enormous cartridge in it, and blows this host's face completely in half.
Yeah, loved it.
It was awesome.
It was absolutely awesome.
Like, you
Yeah.
see the circuitry underneath and everything. I was like,
It
yes.
was excellent. This was
It
excellent.
was really good.
And it's like, what was that? Because that wasn't a shotgun shell that she was shooting.
No, it was like an elephant gun, but it's sawed off.
Yeah.
Why somebody would have an elephant gun sawed off? And not only that, that's the one thing about it is if she pulled that trigger, that thing would have made her like do hula hoops through the air.
She'd have been eating that barrel at least.
That is a hand cannon.
Like, that thing is out of socket. And
Yes, I mean, I couldn't hold that thing two-handed and shoot it without making my teeth chicklets. No way. I mean, so yeah, that was a little disappointing. But then again, most of the handguns in the show don't kick like they normally do when a real gun is fired. So if you want to say consistency from that way, you could say that way. Anyway,
What did you guys think of the elephants? When I saw those two elephants, because the shot was so beautiful, we kind of came into that from really far away. And then I thought of El Lazo, the old El Lazo, Gus Fring, a.k.a. from the episode before, where he tells the elephant story. And I was thinking, like when Nicholas and this Grace, when those two characters, right before they arrive at this tent or whatever, you see those two elephants and they're so obedient. They're like bending down really gracefully and sweetly. And I immediately thought, okay, is there some like double meaning here with the elephants and how they do as they're told? They're so big, but yet they're so, obedient, because that whole steak story with the old El Lazo came to mind.
well, I mean, that steak story from everything I've ever read was true. Because I just remembered reading about that steak story a long time ago. But I mean, I just think elephants are obedient creatures once you train them.
Well, until they get super pissed and
Well, yeah.
crush you.
crush everyone in the audience.
I gotta be honest with you. The only thing I thought about them elephants is like, God, if my big ass is on that thing would fall off the side and I'd break the shoulder. That's all I thought about the entire time. As beautiful as they were, I was like, there's no way my big ass would get up on that thing. That elephant would be tossing me.
You wouldn't ride an elephant if given the opportunity?
I'm telling
I wouldn't.
I have.
You
Oh, you
have?
have?
I've ridden one once.
Oh,
How is it?
I rode one once in Thailand, and I think it was for like a 2-hour ride. And I remember they put like this basket thing on top of you, and by the end your butt is so freaking sore, because when the huge elephant's walking, it's like massive movement up and down. Back, you would be fine. You would not be tossed around. I mean, if anything, your back and your spine is kind of effed up, but they are definitely huge beasts, and they're gentle because, like you said, they're trained. But
I mean,
yeah,
you're still
I was like,
sitting on a
that's
2-ton
what I
animal,
thought.
so.
okay. Your street cred is steadily rising. That's good stuff. All right, so she's running through the woods, and all of a sudden, the Bengal tiger Shiva from The Walking Dead arrives. Okay, all right. When you watch Shiva on The Walking Dead, then we kind of use that as the standard, which it would say as at best is a 6.970 on CGI for a tiger. How do you think this Shiva compares when it comes to CGI?
If it's coming from my point of view, I'm hugely disappointed in this tiger.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the opening headshot, like with it still in the brush and everything.
yeah.
But after that,
It was a
Here's
letdown.
Here's what bothers me. If anybody that's ever seen The Ghost in the Darkness back in the day, I mean,
Yes.
was that a 90s movie?
Movie still carries today.
But the lions are damn near perfect in that movie. And you can't tell me we've digressed this far backwards to this terrible CGI on an HBO show which creates dragons that look amazing.
And dire wolves with fur flowing in the wind and everything.
To give me this just computer tiger made me ill.
Oh, this was Microsoft Paint at work right here. That's what it was, man.
I mean, and maybe it's just because I've seen a real tiger, but it was just like, man.
Good, Cash. You've seen a tiger.
Did you ride it, Cash?
No, not quite. I pet it.
Well, then you ain't shit.
I got in the same cage as it. It's like
Kelly's
the best
giving you
I
the
can do.
finger right now, dude. I mean,
It's like, you know, you try to play catch up, but it's just like, God, how do you talk riding an elephant?
The adults are talking now. Easy over there.
I'm going back in the corner. F you guys.
All right, so yes, the tiger to me was ultimately disappointing. She is able to reload the gun. And did anybody else think it was strange that she had these cartridges in her pocket for this sawed-off?
I mean, they were
No,
going.
she grabbed
hunting.
them.
Yeah.
She did grab them.
Yeah,
Okay.
she did grab a pile of
I
them.
missed that. So she's running. She goes outside the edge of the park, like Kelly talked about. Goes across this trip line.
Well, like, right before she got there, she just like stops and just like fuck. And I thought that was like the most perfect thing you could have ever said. I was just like, what else do you do when you're running from a Bengal tiger? Just
Just shit your pants.
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
hope
really.
for the best.
Just let it run down your leg as you run. So she gets down to this, and this is like a rock structure, like a dam, is what it looks like to me. And then she comes down to this edge. Of course, she's loading it. The tiger comes up. Now, this part right here, this gives you a true size comparison of what the tiger looks like. Because there's no brush, there's no running, it's not a fast camera shot. She pulls the gun out, she shoots. It's a really poor CGI gunshot wound to it, along with it running towards it. I'm just being straight up. This is one of my gripes about the show. And when it jumps on her, okay, its head is twice the size of hers. Arms and everything are on the top of it, and takes it off into the water. Now, how far of a drop do you think this water is?
200 feet.
I don't want to go that far, but
I'd
would
give it 100.
I would say at least 80 feet.
I'd give it 100 feet.
All right, Kelly.
They definitely made it seem like it was super steep.
Yeah, so if you have a 450, 500-pound tiger that has just jumped on you, and you are going backwards into a cliff that's, let's just ballpark 100 feet down, what are your odds of survival?
0.
Yeah.
And the mic has dropped, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
But yet, yeah, I saw that too. When I saw it the second time, the tiger's huge. I mean,
Right.
it's like 8 times the size of her.
And the reason I bring that up is when she ends up on the water edge,
Yeah.
there's a kitten that's dead next to her. Literally a kitten. I mean, because when they walk up there and get close to it, it's not
tiny.
even bigger
That's
than the
true.
guy who's looking at it.
No.
Okay,
That's
but
true. That's
here-
true.
Here's the thing: if you've ever seen a wet cat, they're way smaller than when they're fully fluffed up.
I'm sorry, you didn't drop
It's all the
200
fur.
in the water, okay?
It's a lot of cardio.
Oh, okay.
All I know is I want to know where this damn water is so I can go lose some weight.
Poor little guy tuckered out halfway through. And that was.
My ass. Okay, that
Now-
kitten that was next to her, that didn't work.
But y'all brought up the trip line with the.
The red laser.
Yeah.
The red laser.
Do you think there's normally a barrier or a force field that prevents you from leaving, or there's a consequence? And
I think it's just an
down?
alarm.
Well, there's definitely not a force field because this is a Star Wars. But this is.
I mean, like you could have like domes and everything. Like normally, like some kind of. You're not giving me anything, huh? We've got terraforming worlds, and you won't give me a force field.
But that's the thing.
Force field.
Okay. When in the first episode,
Gosh.
they come up on this what they call like a sea,
Yeah.
right? And then
Right.
the guys that ride up, what's his name, Stubbs.
Ashley Stubbs.
So where is the tiger washing up?
No, they were driving along the lake and found the tiger, and then they kept driving to get to where they were at that peninsula. It's 2 different locations.
Okay, so where Bernard washed up is not the same place that the tiger washed up?
Correct.
Okay, so are these bodies of water connected to where she was, to where all the floating dead bodies where they're like, where'd this water come from?
To me, they make it seem like they drive quite a distance. So to me, I would say no, or if they are connected, they are way different points of the park.
Okay, well, where Teddy is floating with all the other ones, right?
Correct. At the end of episode 1.
Oh, so you're willing to admit it's Teddy now?
Yes, I am willing to admit.
Yeah.
I have been told by every Reddit and everything else that is Teddy, which I still call BS, because if you look at his profile underwater, that does not look like him. Okay, but whatever.
But anyway,
I digress.
They don't know where this body of water came from.
Correct.
Which made me think like, this is a huge levee dam that's built. You know what I'm saying? I thought maybe that's where this was connected on the other end. But it doesn't sound like it.
It's just not clear. There's not enough to say definitively on any of that part and so on. So, I mean, that's just how it rolls up. So, that's kind of the end of the cold open, is that when she gets up out of the water, to me, she's probably thinking, I can't believe I survived. She's got 3 claw marks across her back from the tiger. Again, I'm not real sure where the claw marks...
That's not even the cold open. That's later in the episode. When she goes off the cliff, that's the end of the cold open.
That is correct. Okay. Well, just finish up her part. When she comes out of that water, Ghost Nation shows up, and they take her. She's not immediately killed or anything.
And once I saw Ghost Nation there, I was like, I'm just gonna go back in the water.
Y'all go back for a swim.
Yeah,
they're already holding the scalping blade, so doesn't look good.
No, it does not look good. Which we have some theories to talk about them later, but we'll wait till Maeve runs across them.
Were you a little worried when she wound up with Ghost Nation, Kelly? Or were you just like, eh?
You mean at the end when we see this supposed Grace woman again?
Yes.
I'll tell you, I mean, she's obviously in trouble, but anytime Ghost Nation is on screen, I am down. Like, I just love looking at them. I love the way that their body paint is. Their costumes are amazing. I know we're going to get there when we talk about Maeve, but...
Oh, that one in the river.
To wreak havoc and raise hell.
The main one in the river, looking at Maeve, this is wicked looking.
Yes.
Oh my God, with the 2 red palm.
Yeah.
Handprints on them. I was just like,
it's the closest thing to an Indian Pennywise I've ever seen in my life, and
so badass.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good.
Yeah.
And Native American Pennywise.
Yes. Okay.
We just saw Rajworld, man. That's Indians.
All right, PC man. Okay, Jesus.
Just saying.
Hey, my people are hurt.
All right, so when the episode, we do our normal intro. To me, I didn't see any differences in the intro. Did y'all see any differences in the intro? It looked to be the same. Okay, I'll just look for that. All right, so when the episode starts from after the intro, we get the assault team comes up down the railroad tracks. And, of course, we have the train hole that's smoking. And the girl who had the little cards you were talking about in the last episode, or the first episode, comes up and says it's a slaughter. This is section something number. It's all...
A lot's on fire.
On fire, the whole 9 yards. They go inside, and this is one of those things everybody noticed, I thought of, was the doors open, and it has the old WestWorld logo on it. To me, symbolizing that this is a much older quadrant or facility of WestWorld. Did y'all notice that?
I did not watch.
Yeah, I did notice something in it, but I couldn't place it. But that's a good catch. It was an old one. I definitely okay.
It had the red lines inside the W.
Red. I did see the red,
which is the old logo back when you used to see Arnold and all that other stuff.
Like back when we originally saw it and we were theorizing with it.
Right. So I think there's a reason we see this here, but I'm not picking it up. Hale is inside when they're cleaning up burnt bodies and different things, and she is surprised to see Bernard and says, "Oh,
surprised you made it out of it.
Surprised you made it out of it.
Didn't think you had the stuff."
Yeah, and during this exchange, there are several fans that come out there and said that Charlotte Hale glitches during this conversation. Where she pauses and her eyes twitch 3 times before she speaks again. Now, I watched it 2 or 3 times, and to me, it just looks like an actor who's, okay, what my next line is, and then spits it out. Does that make sense? I didn't see what looked to be like a bona fide, I'm glitching, before I speak.
We see Abernathy have plenty of glitches, and Charlotte didn't have anything like that.
Yeah. But they also put the neck scanner thing on her
later on. Yeah.
Which
there was a long pause after that too, though. When she looked at it, for several seconds, like
you just got your neck scanned. I'm counting up to that.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Anyway, she's like, I need the best guys you got, and one of these flak jackets you're rocking.
My biggest problem was how quickly they gave it to her, because I've never seen a head of security just hand stuff over to the important person.
Well, I mean,
hold on, y'all are jumping. Yeah, you got to remember now.
That's
when
later,
she says
right? Later in
that,
the
that's
episode.
later. What she says is, then you see Bernard have a flashback where he's wearing glasses and he's walking with Hale where they track Peter Abernathy.
You're right.
And then when they go up the hill and they see Peter Abernathy, they see Simon, Steve Ogg, amazing actor, love the guy. You know,
Revis.
So they see him and he's talking like, I get $15 per and. And he's like, each one of them, and he goes, times 9. The guy's like,
how much is that?
How much is that?
I know.
Goes, there's 10 of them. And he goes, well, I might want to taste me one here,
Well, to go back to like when Charlotte gets her, what timeline is that?
That's later.
So is that the 11 days in the future?
All right, well, hold on. You flash back to Bernard where they find Abernathy, right?
Yeah.
Well, then at the end of that whole scene, she leaves Bernard behind on a horse. And then shows up by herself and gets scanned.
Exactly.
That's the timeline. That's the circle. Okay. But when they get, they trick Steve Ogg's character. I'm gonna keep calling him Simon. She calls for help, gives him the finger, and then he takes the stone across the back of the head. They hotwire him to make him where he's super sympathetic and compassionate,
and very accurate.
Yes. Gunslinger extraordinaire.
He did what he called like the most compassionate gunslinger in the
Yes.
West.
Which, I mean, again, this is where Stephen Ogg just steals the screen, man. The guy is just so good. And goes out there and goes, how you treat a lady with gentleness and like you, bow, and shoots, bow, I mean, just greasing them right and left.
Touch her harder than a rose and you don't deserve her.
Right. And so that was good. And so then, of course, the Confederates show up. He lets them go. He talks. Oh, he had a great line where he says, I couldn't let my something. What did he say when he told him? It's like
something about his morals or something
right,
related
like
to
his
that,
consciousness or something.
Yeah, something like that. Where he's,
and then like you said, and then he does the Clint Eastwood and takes 5 of them out. It doesn't. Now here's the one thing about this: the leader of the group is the closest one to him, and he shoots the guy beside him, behind him, and then 4 to his right, and leaves the guy closest to him alive before he runs off. Did any of that make sense to y'all?
No. I think that's just the guy that auditioned for this part, and he's supposed to have at least 3 times on the scrne. I mean,
before he takes 5 rounds.
Before he gets greased later.
He was the director's third cousin. He got a few extra lines.
I think he was a carpenter on the set. Yeah.
The grip.
Exactly.
The grip. Oh my god.
This is our stage grip.
Yes.
We decided to throw him a few lines.
So they get Abernathy over there, and he's glitching, which, again, this actor is amazing. We've said this in season 1. He starts to sing. They're telling him, shut the F up. He won't do it. 2 Confederates going up at him. Hale says, F this, and starts running like a champion up the hill. They shoot at her 6 or 7 times. Don't even come close. She's a champion. And then Bernard just raises his hands like, you got me. And that's that. You know what I mean?
Did anyone else have a big problem with Hale leaving Peter? Her life depends on him. And separating yourself from that seems just like a bad idea.
I don't know.
Yes and no.
She has a knowledge of the park that obviously a lot of these people don't.
True.
If she knows that there's some kind of bunker or whatever, entrance to the lab, anywhere nearby, you take your chances. You know what I mean?
But I mean, there's still hosts, as we've seen with Maeve down there, murdering people.
But she also knows that there is a team on the island. They're not doing a rescue.
True.
But I think she's aware that there are, the security forces are on site.
That's a lot of hoping and praying when you've got your goal right there. Though.
Well, what do you do if you know that the host bullets can kill you and all you got is Bernard to help you tackle this guy?
You've got the most compassionate gunslinger in the West.
You chased after some chick.
Yeah, really. To me, I'd run just because she was at the dinner party where they saw 150 guests mowed down, and she's seen a trap where they could shoot him on site. You just don't know what you're getting with. To me, I'd run. So far, that's the only way you've survived in the past is running. So I was fine with it. I didn't have a problem with that.
Kelly, you okay with it?
I mean, I guess so. I agree. I imagine that she feels like she's going to come back with, her QA responder team and all that. Those carts that don't have any doors on them. She's going to come back with all her might and her team. So I guess, like Zack was saying, she was probably really freaked out from the from the gala dinner the night before or whatever, and was thinking, screw that, I'd rather live, I'll come back, I'll address this properly.
Fight another day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fight another day. It cuts to where we get this enormous gun salute for the colonel to come out of Fort. Is it Fort? It's something Hope. You know,
Forlorn Hope.
Forlorn
Yeah.
Hope.
Which, like you said, she said, "That's an impressive intro," and he had a cut down for her, and she was like, "Well, if he knows what's best for him, you're going to listen," you know, and. Basically, she tells him, "I need your men. You listen to me, you'll see." She proves it by having Clementine bring the guy they were burning his face up, put a P90 into his hands, and
if you can escape, you live. And I had zero faith for this poor gentleman as he was trying to run away. I don't know if anyone else realistically going to get away, but
he was a bullet sponge. There was no doubt. As I like to call him all the time.
And then, did y'all notice the change in Dolores' accent when she switches
it's
from
like gone,
Dolores
right?
to Wyatt?
Yeah, when she it's like a light bulb, you know, Wyatt, Dolores, whatever.
It's like she goes from like a southern accent to just like a Midwest.
But when she's doing the southern accent, she's doing like the southern belle.
Yeah.
You know, she's all sweet and, you know.
It's got a long drawl to it.
Yeah, she's floating around. But as Wyatt, she's dead serious.
Direct. And like, it's not just her accent, but like her...
It's her attitude.
Words. Yeah, everything about it changes. And I think that was something I didn't catch until like the mid-switch right there.
Yeah.
So they go through the formalities. The colonel agrees. They set up the fort. And about that time, they bring in the prisoners, which happen to be Abernathy, some other people, and Bernard. Dolores says, "I need to speak to this one alone." One guy gives him a little lip, and Teddy comes over and gives him the haymaker of haymakers and puts him down, you know, to which, of course, they let him take Peter into a private room where Dolores gets to talk to him. During this exchange, this is probably one of the best acting scenes I've seen, you know, especially out of the actress for Dolores and Peter Abernathy. It was pretty intense.
I mean, I caught all the feelings like during this scene. Like I was sad, I was happy, I was like when you see the joy in her of talking to her dad, I was just like, man, I shouldn't have this emotion for two robots.
You know, that's like Jake says all the time. The show does a great job of making you feel for something you shouldn't feel for, and it was just really, the writing is just so well done, man. And it's just delivered so well. I really, really enjoyed it. Then it leads to a scene where she's talking to Bernard. Bernard just decides to try to diagnose what's wrong with Abernathy. And, you know, basically tells him that, you know, he's overloaded. He's got too much going on. And he's got a file that's encrypted. And he can't figure out what it is at this time.
Kelly, what do you think Abernathy is accessing literally every character in the entire WestWorld?
In the entire WestWorld? I mean, I guess just based off of what Bernard was saying to Dolores, that he was, like, all of his past roles or whatever bouncing around.
The reverbs?
But no, remember...
He's uploaded with some kind of information.
Hale uploads them with all of the information that they need out of the park.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the information that they've been collecting on guests or if it's all of the host code. Because you see him change to different characters during their conversations.
And Bernard also mentions that there's like a splinter personality or something that's like a different... I can't remember the exact word that he used, but it was something like a thin or a splinter personality that's used to cover this huge encrypted file or whatever. So he's got all of his other roles. He's got that huge file plus this like extra whatever personality.
They called it was a masking profile.
Yeah.
It was masking something, you know. So he's kind of he's not able to be one. It's just a whole bunch of stuff masking whatever the super file is.
See, I think the masking profile is the one that's saying, I got to get to the train.
Yeah.
Because that's them trying to say, hey, give him this personality and to get him out of here. But he's accessing other personalities.
Numerous, yes.
And then either through the reverbs that Arnold wanted to implant through him, or like you said, it's
accessing other hosts.
Personalities and stuff, and that's what the information is. So I guess it just kind of depends what we think the information is.
True. Because if it's guest info, he could be spouting off things that
Like
guests have said that they've recorded.
Oh, like a parrot or something.
Right. Or if it's host info, then he's just basically other people's narratives he's spouting off.
Right. All right. It cuts away for a second, and we get a scene of Maeve, Hector. What's the writer's name? I always forget.
I just call him Stable Boy.
Lee Sizemore.
It is Lee Sizemore.
Lee. Okay.
Remember that last name, Sizemore.
Yes. Absolutely. Ha.
Okay.
Ha, no. Ha, damn.
And then remember how, like, Maeve made him strip, so,
Yeah.
you know, she's
I just
always,
call him
like,
Stable
ragging
Boy.
on
We
his
immediately got
Sizemore.
it. Trust me. We immediately. You're talking to three guys. We immediately got it. So.
You won't forget it now.
Yeah. All right.
So, Sizemore.
Sizemore. He'll always be called Sizemore now. I mean,
Yeah.
Kelly, you have ingrained us. Anyway, so they're walking across this creek. Again, this is when we have a Ghost Nation, creepiest guy, a couple of them else come
Well, I
out.
mean, Hector gives him a little bit of liquid courage.
That's
and,
true.
like, he
And
takes
his
a
little
real pull from...
Stable Boy outfit. Is
Well, I like how he gives him the drink, some courage. That's
Yeah.
like a nice thing Hector's doing. But then he knows he's drinking a little too much. So he snatches. He's like,
I know, he takes it away really fast.
it's like I said, courage, not drunk.
Yeah.
You know?
But, I mean, I probably would have got as big as that. Like, yeah, I want to drink this
yeah,
until it's
really.
taken away.
If I'm in his position,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, his asshole is this tight, man. You couldn't drive a nail through his ass. They come across this creek. Like I said, the Ghost Nation guy shows up. Maeve tries to assert her ability to control other hosts, and it fails.
Now, do we think there's a language barrier?
Right.
The theory out there, when I did the homework, is that the Ghost Nation is the older models, like Maeve is, but Maeve's been upgraded. But the Ghost Nation has not. So they're not on the same server or connection between other ones, and so they're not on the kill humans, serve, what do you want to call it. Instead, they're still on their whatever protocol they're on. Now, the theory is that the reason they took Grace from the lake and didn't kill her, the reason they only wanted
we don't know if they
Sizemore,
killed Grace or not.
we don't, but you don't see it.
Yes.
So we're going to assume. If you remember from season 1, they took, what was it, Elise?
Elsie.
Elsie, that's right, yeah. Elsie. They also took the
Stubbs.
He didn't die. So to me, there is a theory out there that the Ghost Nation is like a protocol to help humans if the shit hits the fan. And,
Interesting.
And so that possibly Elsie could be controlling him as part of the theory. I'm not so sure.
See, well, it's pretty much the same theory, but like what I was reading was Elsie reprogrammed all of Ghost Nation because she was Bernard's underling and would know all of that, and she's just using them to save all of the humans.
You know when we're going to know? When that previously on WestWorld, it shows Elsie all of a sudden.
Yes.
This is like, where the hell have you
Elsie
been?
was taken
Yeah, really.
by Bernard.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was
that
suffocated through Bernard, like through a blood chokehold, so it would just knock her unconscious for however long.
I don't know. I don't know if Elsie's involved, but I do like the theory that the reason they only want humans
Is to save them.
is to protect them in some form or fashion. And it would make sense that that's why Maeve can't control them, and that's why they want humans. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Especially if we think Arnold, no, not Arnold, Ford still has some kind of control, going on.
Or some kind of protocol.
Right.
Yeah, which I still firmly think Ford is still controlling all of this
To
in some
me,
shape, way, or form.
Ford is going to have the last laugh. We've got away from Ford so far this whole season, but I really feel like he's going to have the last laugh.
No, he's had two major moments.
And he
Yeah,
just
but
didn't
that
have
was
one this
early. I mean,
episode.
early in the first episode or two.
No,
The second
last
episode
episode.
was with Gus's chicken.
Yeah, Gus Fring comes in as Ford and's like, you got to do this
Okay,
alone.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Well, give it to us. It was painted.
Easy, okay? I'm not a tiger you're petting. Easy. All right?
I felt like, also I was thinking that Maeve couldn't Jedi mind trick Ghost Nation because she kind of flashes back to when she was on that, the homestead
When
scene
she's
where
with
the
her
Ghost
daughter.
Nation
Yeah,
was
when
about
she
to
was
take her
scared to
daughter.
death. Yeah, she recognized the...
Right. I feel
yeah, that's
like
very
maybe
true.
because
Very,
of
very
that
true.
trauma.
Well, and speaking of Maeve's daughter, I want to throw this wild one at you. There's a lot of people thinking that it could be Charlotte.
Right.
because like they're saying Charlotte was just there with her parents, but then Ghost Nation went off the rail and just actually legitimately killed him, or she was just lost. And then Maeve kind of adopted her, but then when William came in and killed Maeve, the daughter ran free, and that's Charlotte. And that's why she's so...
That's
I mean, it's a bit of a bridge too far, but
me,
it would explain the connection with Westworld.
that means you have something that's growing in size.
Yes.
You know, to me, I don't feel that way. To me, Charlotte has a better chance of being the other theory of Arnold's daughter that he didn't know about. Thus, the first name is Charlotte, like his other son's name was Charlie.
Like Charlie.
And that the age is appropriate.
But if Arnold never knew about her, or Bernard never knew about her, why would they name them the same?
Well, because the mother.
The mother that died immediately after?
But the mother, we don't know that.
Yeah,
remember,
we don't even know if the mother's real.
Originally, Bernard is moving his family close to the Westworld
Arnold,
Park.
yes, Arnold.
That we don't see them. Okay?
Ever, yes.
We know what's implanted in his mind about his son dying and stuff like that. It's very possible that Maeve and Charlotte, or whatever, or Maeve and the daughter, are the actual representations of his family.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's a really good theory, because, I mean, we already
That's
saw
interesting.
Sizemore.
You know, I'm just saying, they've already implanted something in Bernard's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know Bernard has this attachment to Dolores, being the original.
Yes.
And we know that Ford has already made members of his own family,
True.
you know, into odd stuff.
And
What would have stopped Arnold
From
or
doing the same
Bernard
thing.
from making his wife and daughter if something happened to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
No,
There's a lot of possibilities there.
Like, I mean, I'm really liking what you're throwing in there.
Maeve's
Yeah, I
the
like
right
that
age,
too.
and the daughter would be the right age, and the fact that Charlie is pretty close, because he doesn't say his wife and son when they're looking at the house. Him and Dolores,
He just says, my wife and kid.
wife and kid, or my family, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's very possible.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Kelly?
I like that theory. I like it. I'm not sure if it's like 100%, but I do like it. I have to think about the timeline. I mean, the ages, it seems work, because it seems like during season 1, Charlotte didn't work for me in so many ways, but now that she seems, I don't know, more on task in season 2, I've kind of forgotten about her in terms of that whole scenario with Bernard and or potentially being Maeve's daughter, because I think I'd either read it or thought about it myself. Could she be Maeve's daughter? But I'm kind of digging this. What Jake just said about she could potentially be Bernard's
kid in a way, especially with how much time they spend on screen together.
Yes.
That'd be a nice little nugget to just like, oh, we put this right in front of you and y'all didn't even think about it.
Right. Well, you know,
But I feel like they haven't made anything yet of Bernard and Dolores, really, right? In that realm yet. They haven't planted any seeds, really, right? When they're both on screen.
Like affectionate or something?
Yeah, anything to like potentially support it in more of a.
I haven't
like
gotten
a
any kind of
sweet
sexual.
father-
I haven't got any vibe like that. No.
Yeah, no vibe yet, but I dig the theory. I like the theory.
Well, Kelly, what do you think about the fact that, say, she is the flesh and blood of Arnold, right?
Correct.
Remember when they go into the bunker, they both can touch the door handle, and it
That's
checks their
true.
DNA. If she touches the handle, it would pick up as Arnold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? The fact that you just brought that up makes me think that might not be true. Although, it looks like Ford did something to Bernard so that DNA could be even picked up, right?
Exactly. Because he can
If
touch
he's
the
a
handle.
host, why would he have any DNA, supposedly?
Right, and he's able to touch the door handle as if either an owner or a guest or a human would be able to touch.
All right. Well, here's
Right.
one thing. All right. If you remember, after episode 2, they show a preview for the next episode, and if you look very carefully, there is a small scene, a flash of Charlotte next to 3 different Bernard robots. 2 of them have got like wounds and damage, and one's in plastic. To me, and she's wearing the same outfit that she's wearing now, which is the white long sleeve shirt and the pants like that. So to me, if they've shown us that scene in a preview, that means that she knows what Bernard is. She has other versions of him, and not only that, that would make sense why he can open up the door and not realize that he's been there or anything before, because she knows exactly what he is, and that's part of the process. So to me, that makes me feel more like she is Arnold's daughter, and that's how she's keeping Bernard rocking, because she knows who he is and everything else in that secret lab. And so that's kind of how I feel. Of course, that's that little bitty nugget they put you in the preview, that flashes across the screen real fast.
Is that why people are thinking? Because I don't watch any previews anymore. I just don't want to have those potential things. I just feel like it tells me too much. But is that why people are thinking that they're three Bernards or two different? Maybe that's where this is.
Well, there is a theory is that, like Cash talked about, I'll give him credit on this, is that when he washes up on that shore, the Bernard is always worried about where his glasses are, and he's wearing a different shirt and vest. And then when you do the time loop, it's a completely different dressed Bernard, and he has his glasses, and they're important to him.
Right.
So they show the characteristics of two different guys, even though they're two different times. And they're different, and so that's what I think what people are talking about more than anything.
Yeah.
All right, so I think where we left off is that
Ghost Nation had just stumbled upon
correct. During the conversation, they go back to where they're back at the fort, and during the conversation, I think Dolores says something like, "I want to. What is your plan?" And Dolores says, "I want to dominate their world," and he says, This world is nothing but a speck upon their world. Kind of giving you symbolism of size.
The world's too big for you to dominate.
Correct, yes. And then, they go have some more exchanges, and it goes back to that long speech they have. And then it cuts back to Maeve again, and the Sizemore is, cussing because he's had to walk for so long downstairs. And you have Hector and Maeve showing affection, and he gets pissed off about it.
Oh, he gets furious.
Yeah. Which is cool, though, is because it shows that, he tells them, you're not programmed for that, you can't do that. The reason I know that is because I wrote your love story, and the whole reason why, and they come to find out that, it was based on a love story that he had and wanted to be. Now, I thought it was cool as hell is when Hector started talking lines like, "You're my everything," and he recited the rest of the lines for him, and the look on Hector's face was priceless.
He's like, "Oh no, I really am just what you say.
I'm a machine."
Yeah.
I thought Maeve's digs were fantastic. Cause she's like, "Oh, it's this and this," and then she discovers what he wrote it for. She's like, "Actually, no, it's just sad." I was
really.
Damn.
like holding hands,
What were you thinking during that, Kelly?
I mean, I definitely feel like the showrunners and the writers were saying, as much as these hosts are woke on different levels, there's still the chance of how much are they programmed. Hector is supposedly, developing feelings for Maeve, yet he's saying the same canned lines that Lee wrote for him. And it makes me think, for example, Dolores, as much as she seems fully woke and on this war path of I'm going to dominate the world and kill everybody, is she still programmed? It still makes me wonder how much of that is in her programming, if at all, and is it truly just her and her free will?
Yeah, or is it Arnold still's entire process controlling everything that she's doing? Because when Maeve says, "Do you feel free?" that was a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think Maeve is the only one who's really not on any kind of programming thing. I think Dolores still might be.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly you hear gunfire in the background. They go behind shelter, and you see this guy just running down the hallway on fire. Now, I'm telling you, all right, who in here thinks that you're just going to continue to run down the hallway for at least 150 feet while you're sizzling?
I mean, the first thing you're ever taught, stop, drop, and roll.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, he's still toting a firearm on fire. You know what I mean? I think it was just more about the rule of cool here. To me, yes, I'm on fire. I'm with Cash. I'm rolling around. I'm trying to get the clothes off me. I'm trying to do something. I'm not just sprinting down the hallway going, ah, the whole time.
But of course, we have to set up the rule of cool for you know who.
Oh yeah,
Hector.
That's next, right?
Hector's woman. What's her name? Starts with like an A.
Isabella?
Armistice.
Yes.
Armistice.
Armistice, yeah.
And she has
Because
arm.
Yeah, she has a new arm now,
Yes.
and she has
She has a
a
dragon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hector's
a little
like-
HBO pun,
Just
Yeah,
like, wait
very
till you go
meta,
to
very
Westworld
Game of
or
Thrones.
Westeros, Hector. Wait till you see a real dragon.
yeah.
But once again, super badass CG for her hand,
Yes.
the robotic hand, unacceptable tiger.
So she comes into the room, and Felix is still alive. Felix is tied up, and his douchebag friend is still there, and holding a grenade under his chin. Man, it was awesome.
And Armistice is just like casually looking at it. It's like, I'll let you sit with it a little bit longer.
Yeah. And he's up there, grenade. Come on, man.
So is there a worse place to try to hold a grenade than underneath your chin?
I mean, I guess it's better than putting it in your crotch. But,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I got pretty strong.
Cash, why'd you close your legs up when I said that, man?
I was trying to think how long could I hold a grenade there? It's like my life depended.
Dude. Okay. So you made me lose thought again, man. You're killing me, dude. So they decide to team up, and I think that's awesome. We go back, and this is where is this about the time where you get all the badass vehicles coming across stage?
Yes.
And the
Yeah,
whole
this
nine
is-
yards.
Charlotte and the
Dolores-
recon team
yeah.
basically are going to the Forlorn.
Right.
Hope.
Possibly the worst vehicles I'd want to.
What's up with those vehicles? I mean, when I saw the second time, I was more ticked by it because if these QA responders or whatever and Charlotte and her team are going back to Forlorn Hope, and I know that all of the hosts are fully off their loop, they're totally crazy, they want to kill everything, and you're trying to tell me that they're going to ride these vehicles that don't have any protection, no armory, no nothing, and then they're going to go on foot, just like walking into this camp?
I think once again they went for rule of cool because I want one of these vehicles. They're super badass.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Like,
Yeah,
it
but
was
we're not in a
very Dark
gunfight.
Knight.
Yeah.
That's the reason they're super cool.
But I understand what you're saying. They went for how cool it looks versus the practicality of it. I think
It does look badass cool.
And they would have a bit of an ego going into this, knowing that they have assault rifles and body armor. I could see them
I don't
having.
know if we can call a P90 an assault rifle.
Submachine gun, and their body armor sucks ass.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Henry repeating rifle is taking a few of them out, obviously, but I don't know.
I didn't see, because a lot of it, they don't have sniper rifles here because they aren't assuming that these hosts are ever, they don't have a lot of the equipment that we think they do because this event was never supposed to happen.
But I tell you what, I did
True.
miss. They had cannons and cannonballs.
Yes.
I would have loved to have seen some cannon fire at this row of machine gun toters.
100%.
Well, all right.
Like the Patriot, taking off limbs and shit.
Yeah, I want to see this cannonball rolling, like you said, delimbing people and everything.
Yeah.
All right. Right before the assault starts, the colonel talks about, and his little, his stooge, his lieutenant, talk about they put nitro out there in locations, and the light point is at the barrels at the base of the flag. Okay, that was a detail they showed us, right?
Yep.
Yes.
When the assault is coming, this is worse than colonial army. They're just walking out there casually,
Hip
shooting.
firing.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not even. There's no
They're not even
strategic
running, they're not
plan.
doing
There's
anything.
no.
Right.
I mean, this is not Delta Force. This is Bob and Jim in combat suits, running out there like, look what I have, a P90.
Yeah, there's no flanking or anything like
Yeah,
that. They're
and
just
they're
kind
all
of.
coming out. So you have several Confederate soldiers with repeating rifles, muskets, this. To me, even though with this automatic fire, they should be dropping like it is hot out there. You see a couple of them
Agreed.
fall.
Agreed.
And then I showed Cash, when we watched the episode again, right before we started this pod, and I told him, I said, you know what pissed me off more about this? Is that cannons were not used, like Jake said. Also, those P90s, they have over 150 rounds, over 100 round magazines on those things, right? They are shooting full bore. You do not see a single bullet hit any of the structures around any Confederate soldier at any time during this assault. all you see is like small explosions where the cannonballs were and everything like that. And they were never shooting anything that would cause an explosion like that.
Yeah, they were. Gunpowder barrels. That's what they were hitting.
Maybe so. All right. But still,
that's a lot of gunpowder barrels. Because
you never see any of the bullets hit anything other than a guy falling going, oh, you know, and throw his musket down.
And that guy only ever has one bullet hole.
Right. And so a P90 shoots at an amazing rapid rate. And so it's not the chances of you getting hit by a singular round by one. And they are very tall, small rounds, by the way.
They're tiny little
They're
bullets.
tiny little bullets, okay? I think it's like a 5.7. It's a tiny little thing. Mm-hmm. And, like, if you got hit with that thing, it doesn't make you fly off your feet and die like a dead fish before you hit the ground. Even, you know, I'm just being honest.
It's an upgraded pellet gun. It's a little bit meaner than a 22.
Right. And so this is where that continuity and realism let me down on this episode, is because what they're shooting... Yes, if you shot a guy 3 or 4 times with that thing, yeah, okay, they're dead. I get it. But these guys were flying back like they were getting hit with cannons, single shots, and everything else. It just didn't match.
I mean, the one dude, when they're going through the side door, falls through the door.
Right.
And it's like you can post up on those things without anything.
Right. The bullets would go right through them before they even could. It would feel like they're being tickled. It wouldn't it wouldn't anything like that. So that really bothered me. And then, of course, like when Hale shows up and those two guys rush the two guys to the door, they both shoot. What did we say? At least 5 or 6 bullets in a short burst. Each one of the guys had one bullet hole in his upper left chest or upper right chest, and they fall to the ground dead before they even hit the dirt, which is so false. You know, if they got hit in the head, maybe. And so all this guns fight, I think it was supposed to be really cool, but I'm sitting there looking at it going, gosh, damn, they're messing this up. That don't look right.
Agree. So much agreed. I don't even know nearly the stuff about guns that you guys do, but I just felt like for all of the shooting and whatnot that seemed to be going on, the fight, the whole showdown overall was, I don't know, it just let me down. I also, like, it didn't feel like it was as big as they built it up to be.
I don't know. It just didn't match. You know, to me, I thought, when I think of HBO and epic fight scenes, I think of like Game of Thrones, the Bastard, and the last couple of episodes. I mean, like some of those things, and they're just 55 days to shoot. How epic and this is. This felt like it was shot in 2 days. Let's get through it.
On your buddy's camera,
right? It just didn't match what I thought the quality they could do. It was like thinking about the Tiger. The Tiger was weak sauce, and this was the fight kind of ended that way too. So
all this is going on,
right? The Confederates are losing terribly. They're just getting mowed down right and left. So Dolores' masked army decides to close the doors, put the pin on it, and when all the Confederates are lined up against this door, which I told Cash, one guy with a P90 could mow that down, all 20 of those guys. The whole crew in one guy with that way that gun shoots. Not a single one of them looks like they're dying from multiple individuals, full auto, shooting at the door, which just is so unfathomable. Then they pull out their Colt 45s and start single shot through the doors, taking folks out right and left, which was cool. That this actually looked real. This actually that's how it would actually look in my mind if you're shooting a revolver through a wood door and hitting people on the other side. Mm-hmm. And so when all of Hale and their soldiers get close to the door, badass chick gives a signal
to Armistice. She lifts the flag, which I thought was.
No, this is not Armistice.
This is not Armistice. This is that cutthroat killer.
Angela.
Yes.
You know who that is, right? In real life, it's Elon Musk's ex-wife twice over.
Yes, I did know that.
Oh God! Wow. This is pre-Amber Heard stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about Amber Heard, but the only reason I knew about Angela was because Elon Musk was in the news today about dating some other artist or whatever, and then I remember reading about how Angela is divorced from him twice, which, for whatever reason, tickles me.
I mean, I probably would have given it a second chance with Elon.
I mean,
Cash, you are single. Make it happen, baby.
He's probably our nation's hope, so let's...
and he's South African.
Cut up some slack. Oh, no, we've adopted him.
We'll trade you the country just to have Elon.
All right, did y'all notice when she gets ready to shoot the nitro, the barrel of the gun is pointed at least 30 degrees away from the flag? I paused this. I should have took a picture of it and put it on Facebook. I'm like, what in the shit is she shooting at?
Camera angles, bro.
And when she
Camera
pulls the trigger,
exactly.
it explodes under the flag. I was like, oh, damn. No.
Yeah, but they would have been a shitty camera angle if they tried to do it correct.
You
We're
weren't
gonna look
thinking
down
about-
the
Guess
side
what?
of her
It was
gun.
shitty anyway.
You weren't thinking about the wind blowing in the opposite direction.
You think the wind's going to make a difference in third game? Oh, my God.
There's a tornado in the background.
It was
you just
wanted.
didn't see.
You know,
It
curved
was
bullets.
wanted. That's right.
Curved bullets.
Damn.
It was actually Angelina Jolie making that shot.
Okay.
But while that's going on and stuff, Bernard's still with Peter.
Right. And this is where he finally he's showing that he's shaking more. Mm-hmm. But he finally unlocks this encrypted file.
And so do we think he's shaking more because he needs more brain fluid?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
There's a theory about this. We'll get into. So when he finally opens it up, man, I'm freeze framing this slowly but surely. And what's the name of this file, Cash?
It's
like short for Peter Abernathy with a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, so it's essentially like P.Aber _ and then it spells out passengers, but with a bunch of letters and numbers.
Right.
Dot key.
And what is the title of the last episode of the season?
The passengers.
So, ding, ding, ding. To me, that's a big deal. All right.
How do you get to WestWorld on a train?
Right.
I'm telling you, this is the info on the guests.
So you're thinking it has to be guess with like all of...
Guest info.
Because, there's got to be something because Bernard is immediately shook as soon as he opens it.
Yeah, he opens it.
And
He's like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my God.
And like, I don't know if y'all have ever looked at code or anything.
Yeah.
But you're not going to look at code and be like, oh my God, I know exactly what this is.
Right.
Yeah, but
True.
if it says like blood type so and so, you know,
The
So,
protocol, whatever. For all we know, this could be something that shows the
Kills.
end game for Westworld.
kills, rapes. You know,
Don't go any farther. Don't go any farther. It's getting dark. So
Oh God, those would be terrible.
did you notice the symbol for Delos that showed up on the middle screen, worked its way down to the bottom right
It was
corner?
like as soon as he opened it up, it was that
Right.
symbol.
Did you also notice,
Yes.
if you go back to Jungle Jane, Grace, whatever you want to call her, okay?
Yes.
When she opened her notebook, I took a picture of this and put it on Facebook.
Yeah, I saw it.
It showed a map, and there was the Delos symbol on the right side. It's kind of generic looking, but it looks just like it on the
And
far right.
also when Hale in, I guess it was episode 2, when she and Bernard first go down, you know, where we see the host drones, those white huge figures.
yeah.
Right.
When she's keying in, you see that really briefly too. You see that like, you know, hexagonal linkage thing
Correct.
also.
To me, I think this is all clues. This is what makes me think Grace is important and somehow connected to Delos. And like I said, that's just another big nugget. I mean, that's why you give that person a cold opening. And just,
Yeah.
do all that. Not to see a shit ass tiger.
Agreed.
Agreed. So that's how that goes. All right. So after she shoots 30 degrees away from the barrel and it lands on it from Wanted style, it explodes, takes out most of the entire force. The lieutenant is pissed off that his men have been sacrificed. Goes down there.
Well, no, I mean before all that, like Dolores sees Abernathy.
That's correct, yeah.
Or Peter, her dad, getting taken away.
That is correct.
But before that, they break in and steal him, and Bernard rips the cord out and everything.
And puts it in his pocket.
And puts it in his pocket because there's a huge theory that Bernard transferred the files from Peter either into himself or onto the tablet.
Mm-hmm.
I say on the tablet,
Right.
we watched it in slow-mo, it doesn't ever show him put it in his body.
Yeah.
But the other thing here is that we see him go in that corner, put the cord in his pocket. They take Peter Abernathy away, correct?
Yep.
The next time you
Yes.
see Bernard, he's already outside of out of that room. For all you know, he plugged it in, uploaded himself, and that is the reason he's shaking so bad is because he can't handle the file load.
Yes.
So to
I
me,
agree with
that is
that.
when you see him start. He can't walk properly. His hand is uncontrollable, and and he gets taken by Clementine.
And that would explain why he doesn't really freak out after they take Peter and everything, is because he knows he has the important information.
It could honestly explain why he doesn't need his glasses anymore, too.
That and you notice he didn't have the tablet anymore when he went outside. Also,
Yeah, if he's taking on other personalities or whatever information he's pulling in from, uploading himself, then it's possible he doesn't need the glasses occasionally. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. Yeah.
Abernathy's flipping in and out.
Not only that, when you see him at the end, when you see all the bodies in the ocean, including Teddy.
Yep.
By the way.
Oh, yeah. Did you see Teddy in there? Did you see him in there?
This could be the reason he says, I killed him, because it could be talking about one of the other personalities that's maybe in control of him now. That's the reason he doesn't need his glasses. That's the person talking. And the reason he doesn't recognize everything that's going on or everything else. So there's a lot of possibilities there. To me, I'm leaning towards, since he didn't have the tablet anymore, that he has uploaded himself whatever the file is that he got from Abernathy. That is the reason he's shaking real bad. And that is the reason we, where we are now.
But let me say, when he's stumbling around, when he's even in chains or ropes, he has the tablet somewhere in his pockets. So we don't know if he has the tablet anymore.
Man, that thing looks like an iPad Pro, a 12-incher. You know what I mean? Not one you put in your pocket.
Remember, they fold up. They fold.
That's true. You got me.
Three-fold.
You got me on that.
So,
I mean,
infinite battery life.
We don't see him carrying it around while he's running around with Hale in the woods.
Yet, he didn't have it then, though.
Yes, he does. Because remember, they're pulling people down and checking them. They rewire.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. This is like in his back pocket, like a wallet, man.
Yeah. Just because you don't see him toting it around doesn't mean he doesn't have it.
Right.
You got me on that one, man. You got me. But the shakes becoming so severe makes me think he's uploaded himself.
But they are showing the shakes before he's uploading, for sure.
They just become a lot more prevalent after the fact.
I agree with
Very
that.
much so. So, like you said, a lieutenant goes down. He's pissed. They hit him and knock him out. Dolores goes after Abernathy. Teddy runs behind him. She goes outside, and two supposedly sharpshooters, because guess what we saw a minute ago? They shot 7 times, killed a guy with 1 bullet to the chest, at the door, didn't even hit any of the wall behind them or anything else. So these are crack shots.
I mean, best we've ever seen. And they are his best men. They are Stubbs' best men.
Dolores walks out and is approaching them, as also in a contrasted outfit, which means she is wearing all white. She has blonde hair. Would be a much easier visual target coming at you than 2 guys in gray suits against a wooden wall. Would you correct me?
I couldn't.
So they shoot, graze her side, her love handle, get her shoulder, and she's able to mow both of them down with a single shot.
Pardon you. What love handle?
Not existent.
Hey, look, I have love handles. We all have love handles in that world.
I don't think that's how the logic works there.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Okay?
No.
We all can't be 10s like Kelly, okay? Y'all need to calm it down, okay? All right? So, to me, I was not expecting her to go out there commando.
I mean, I wasn't expecting them to somehow hit a person with a single shot with what sounded like fully automatic rounds either.
I'm with you on that as well. Not only that, Teddy was directly behind her. Didn't even get touched.
No.
Not even grazed.
And he didn't do anything.
No. He looked good in the hat. I mean,
I think
that's
he
all
killed
he got
one of them.
But we've seen this dude, super gunslinger.
Yes.
Take out a squad of people.
But
I don't know.
Yeah.
And if she's ever in any danger, he is immediate. Jumps in front.
yeah.
And is killing squad. This time, he's in a daze.
Yeah. All right. Was anybody else confused by the fact that when she got shot, it didn't even hardly bother her at all?
No, because she knows that she's not supposed to die. Like, she's removed.
So that's what a lot of people say. I want to make sure we were all on the same page on that. So she, like I said, she takes a shot in the side, takes a shot in the shoulder. The side shot doesn't hardly even bleed. The shoulder has got,
it's
a
coming down a little
trickle,
bit.
little inconsistent with that. Okay, whatever. Hale and Abernathy get away. Okay. And this is about the time that Clementine comes out, takes out Bernard, hitting with the butt of the gun, and starts dragging him off.
Super soldier dragging people.
Yeah.
I mean, just
no
problem.
She's got the Dolph Lundgren, profile in her right now. Yeah. All right. So there's a lot of people upset because she got the same procedure Abernathy got done back in the end of season 1, where she's lobotomized or repurposed. Why is she able to control herself and do this when Peter Abernathy is not able to? A lot of people have that, confusion of, where, to me, he's got all these giant file messing him up.
The file, yeah.
And she's just super robot killer. You know,
But I forgot who wakes up Clementine.
I'm not sure.
Doesn't Maeve come across her?
I think Maeve did, yeah.
Okay, well, we know Maeve can communicate
Yes.
definitely between hosts.
Upgraded host.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, we know she's a newer
well,
host.
if you're
so-
in the Central Park, wherever she was, you could. It's not the one. It's the ones in the outliers she didn't have control of.
Right. And she has Felix wake her up, I think. Bring her back.
I think you are right.
I think is what happened. I'm not
She saw
positive.
her. I think she saw her being worked on when she came in, and that's when she wakes up Clementine, unbeknownst to anyone else.
Something like that. I'm like I said, I could possibly be mistaken on that, but I think she woke her up, and I think Maeve has shown the power to fix, however
Yes.
she likes. You know what I mean? And if she had Felix has the pad and can do whatever he wants
Very
at
true.
the time. So
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
So I think we're all okay with Clementine.
yeah,
plus she looks super badass.
She does, man. I mean, there ain't no doubt.
But if Maeve woke her up, Maeve and Felix or whoever, if they woke Clementine up, why isn't she with those guys? Why is she with Dolores? How did she get with Dolores and
Well,
Teddy?
Clementine was a part of the group of the masked men that attacked the dinner gala.
Right, okay.
And so
She was
Dolores
there.
became in charge of those people when that happened.
That dinner, okay.
Right. Okay, so Teddy has been told to kill the lieutenant and the rest of the Confederates on the side, out back like a dog. Mm-hmm. He goes out back there. He folds under pressure. Shoots the wall above him and tells him to go. Dolores watches this and has this large look of disappointment. A lot
Do you
of
think this folding under pressure, or just like him actually finally making a choice for himself?
I think it's just part of who he is. He's not going to kill somebody who's defenseless.
Well, this guy also struck a nerve.
Yeah.
You have to think.
I mean, he hit the old cliche of we're
just-
not that different
Yeah.
from each other.
Yeah, really.
The classic right before you get shot line.
Your papa bounced you on your knee or on his knee too. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Again, all right. So a lot of people are like, "Well, this is the reason Teddy dies later is because he folds." I think it's too early to make that the assertion.
Yeah, I mean, Dolores has already come out and told us how important Teddy is to her. So to say that, we're already trying to leap to say Teddy's not going to make it outside the fact that he's died a bajillion times.
No, see, I think the other way. I think they made that moment where she tells him, "You're all I have left," for then him to basically betray her or disappoint her, however you want to say it. I think she now thinks, I'm all alone.
I've got to destroy everything. Like
I'm
you're
alone.
saying.
And now Teddy's not worthy of coming with me.
Whoo!
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Remember, she
Yeah,
says
no.
it.
I mean, I'm with you. I feel you. I feel you, man.
She quotes to that Ghost Nation guy before she shoots him.
We're not all worthy or something.
We're not all worthy
Right.
to make it to the end, or whatever she says. She's making those decisions on the fly.
She
Like,
is.
Who's coming and who's not.
All right. You just brought up a good point. She's killing Ghost Nation ones, and we're theorizing that they can't be controlled because they're trying to help humans, this and so on. And does this help confirm it by that they're out there killing Ghost Nation Indians?
She's killing anybody, though.
Native Americans.
She's killing anybody.
Yeah. Like, she's not...
She's not selective.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just thought it was. You brought up a good point.
She's like Thanos. Not all of us can make it. Only half.
Oh, good Lord. Lord have
Shh. Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen
Spoiler
it
alert.
within
That's a
2
good one.
weeks, that's on you.
Yeah, really, man.
Like,
Either you're dust or you're not. No.
oh,
Easy. Easy.
calm down there, rabbit.
Yeah,
Calm down.
all right. All right. So this is actually about the time that the woman comes out of the lake and the Ghost Nation takes her
Yes.
during the
Yes.
episode. It's right
Right.
there at the end. Okay, but then it cuts to the last part, which is Maeve, Hector, and Sizemore, and the little group, and they come up. They are in a new park. This is Shogun Park, and where they see a fire in the distance. They see snow for the first time.
Well, are they in?
No.
Yeah.
No, they are.
They are.
Sizemore thinks they're in the northernmost mountain range of WestWorld, but they're not.
Okay.
They're not.
They've gone under and come up in the new Shogun Park.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he mentions that he thinks they're near the Klondike narrative, which I guess is he says is close to the homestead, which is where Maeve eventually wants to go.
Correct.
True, but what about this though? Just out of curiosity, we know a tiger has now crossed the boundary. We know Grace has crossed the boundary. Is it possible that something from Shogun World has crossed into the WestWorld?
That's what
I think I'm with you, Jake, on that. I feel like the Shogun has crossed over because the way that Shogun comes at Maeve at the very end, I just feel like I don't know. Maybe I feel like they're not quite fully in Shogun World yet.
I don't think so at all. Just because. Again, I hate to say it. The preview after episode 1 shows Maeve in a full Shogun, uniform, geisha outfit with a samurai sword. And I think the snowing is the key. Like you will never see snow in WestWorld.
Well,
That's true.
So if Sizemore says we must be in the Klondike region, that means there's snow up there.
Okay, well, I can give you that. I can give you that, but to me, I don't think so. I think I've gone into the Shogun world. I think this is on purpose that they showed us at the end where you see Sizemore pull the head of a warrior out of the snow, and
we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, and obviously, like he knows what that is and what that means, and then you see a sword-toting bad guy or samurai, whatever, rushing them as they're at the fire.
So, do we think Maeve could control them, or do you think that they're on a completely different operating system?
I would assume she can't control them.
So I think that she
can.
Should
is
be
that what
able
you said?
to.
That she can't.
She can't. Mm-hmm.
To me, I think she's going to be able to.
I think she should be able to, unless there's a language barrier.
Code is the language of everything.
Well, like
ones and zeros. It's like the Matrix, man. Come on, dude.
But I mean, if you're only speaking in English, like that's why I kind of thought she couldn't speak to the Ghost Nation was because they just didn't understand her.
I don't know, but programming.
That's awesome.
Cash. Good cash. Good.
I know what you're trying to say, but I feel like WestWorld had its home base. You know what I mean?
Like its server. The thing
It's
that handles
its
everything.
thing that handles its stuff, and then it looks like they would have another one of those in Shogun World and Rajworld.
But I mean, we saw Rajworld. They freaked out too and started killing people.
I think that was just to show us a timeline. Truly just to show us a timeline of everything was fine, and then suddenly the host started killing everybody to show how that, even at this world, when the shit hit the fan, that's when the shit hit the fan there too.
Okay.
I agree with that.
It was just a way of combining the storyline and showing us a shitty tiger and her jumping off a 100-foot cliff. That's what it was designed for. Okay?
Maybe. Well,
I mean, we'll find out next week, but...
Yeah.
I really think that Maeve will be able to control everything in Shogun World like she is in WestWorld.
All right. So that's credits. That's the end of the episode. And there's one other theory out there, and it's really not. It's a theory, but it doesn't have much to substantiate. I just want y'all's opinions on it. Is that the reason Peter Abernathy is chosen? The reason he's chosen is because he is the copy or new version of the original Delos head guy. That is the theory. Okay, is that they look similar. He's the head of a household, of a ranch. If you even look at the WestWorld map on some of the things, like Abernathy land or how it has its own insignia, which is very important to where it is. I mean, they make a real big deal about the name Abernathy. He's the only character Abernathy. All that stuff, and so that he is the...
Is Dolores not Abernathy?
She's just called Dolores.
Okay.
Yeah, so, what do y'all think about that?
No.
That maybe that's part of the reason why he was chosen, why he was so important.
You remember when they pick it? Hale just kind of walks into the pile of people standing there, and she goes, "That one." You know what I mean?
I don't think he was in the front, was he?
He was, but it didn't seem purposeful. It just seems like she was like,
yes,
that one will do. I don't know. You would think, and I think there's a reason why he's still around, because he might be the only one that can kind of cow Dolores a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If somebody gets a hold of Abernathy and reprograms him to, kind of bring Dolores down a little bit,
it could work.
it could work a little bit just because she has feelings for him.
Yeah.
You know, they're programmed into her, but she has memories of him too.
True.
So he could be important later on for that.
Right.
He could be like her anchor or everything. Like, okay, I need to come back and calm down or something like that.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know how they're going to work it out.
Yeah. I think it's too early. I don't think there's enough to say yay or nay. To me, I'm going to go with a nay on that.
You got anything, Kelly? You think yay or nay?
I agree. I don't think so. Because I think I agree with what Jake said, that when Abernathy was picked, when Charlotte went in, I feel like it was pretty random.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for now, nay also.
Okay.
But definitely he's Dolores's weak spot. I mean, if she has feelings for anyone, it's definitely for Papa Abernathy. I don't even think that what she says to Teddy, that it's just you and me. I don't. From the get-go, I've never really bought their love affair, their whole, relationship thing. I just can't really get behind that.
I'm with you on that. I've always thought she just kind of, been leading Teddy on just to bring him.
I agree.
So,
totally.
Yeah, it won't surprise me when she greases him.
I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
Love is brutal. Yes, it is. So, that was my last theory, Cash. Did you have another one at all by chance?
not one that I really want to bring up right now. There's
Okay.
a few that are just a little too far out there.
Yeah, and and this was one time where the previews were not great when it comes to things.
I mean, that's wonderful. Cause
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it,
Yeah,
because
I
Kelly
say-
doesn't like the previews.
Exactly. Let's do it for Kelly.
Let's do it for Kelly. You too. Cash.
Y'all don't respect my opinion, so like, why am I going to try to
Again,
come bad
the
at
adults
that?
are talking easy over there. Okay. All right, so we'll cut off the previews on this one. There's no doubt. But, I mean, overall, I was super pumped with the episode. The only thing I would say, don't get me wrong, there were some details I didn't care for throughout, different things like that.
Which was just odd, for such a detail-oriented show.
I hate that we didn't get a Men in Black part, but I think that there was no room for it whatsoever. I was missing a little bit of, Ed Harris on the episode. There's something there. But I think the next episode is going to be heavy on him. And so it's kind of cool there. It was cool to see another world, the beginning of another world, that we're going to get to explore. The show is just, it feeds your appetite so well. Just really, really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. You bums going to say something? Or are you going?
Well, the show's at such a high level. Like, it keeps your expectations so high. So when you come into an episode like this that actually missed on a couple little details, the tiger and the gunfight, were not spectacular. It kind of grounds you a little bit on this show, which keeps you floating most of the time. So I'm not going to complain too much. I've watched too much shit television to whine about small details on a great show. So
That's fair.
Totally. For me, the best part was definitely the beginning, just because I thought for sure, because I don't watch the previews, I knew we would get Shogun World at some point, and I thought we would go there this episode. But when they detoured to this Rajworld, immediately it was so beautiful. It was so well shot. The music, the sitar, the white stripes, cover.
Oh, it was awesome.
The Seven Nations Army.
Yeah. It was so beautiful, and I love the detour. And I thought, for me, the best part of it was that those two. Well, I guess eventually Grace is the one that's going to be super important. But I love seeing the different world, and that world building was awesome.
Agreed.
I would have to agree with you. Like, I was like, great, I missed my show because Westworld's not on. Because I was like, oh, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I had to get info. And I just thought it's a completely different tone than anything Westworld has done.
Yes.
And that's what I really enjoyed about that cold open and everything. And then
Agreed.
There's a lot of character building, I think, throughout the episode, and I'm interested to see where Maeve goes and just how powerful she is.
Right.
Because I really think that she's stronger than what we've even begun to see. But we'll see that in the next episode.
Yeah, well, I hope so. There's no doubt. Guys, we've been rocking it. I think this is what we're going to call it tonight. I think we all can agree having Kelly on the show has been absolutely fantastic. You were amazing.
Oh my God, you guys are fantastic, and it was such a pleasure to tag along for an episode. It was awesome.
Well, I'm not afraid to say I think we need to do this again. Down the road.
I'm definitely in.
Your voice is way better to listen to than these two bums. Let me go ahead and tell you. And
if only I could be there, that we would not stop laughing.
Yes. But again, thank you so much for being a part of it, Kelly.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. It was awesome.
Make sure you check her out on Facebook, Twitter. Like, what are your handles?
Yes. Let's see. I'm on Twitter, Kelly Choi, and you can definitely find all my other socials on Instagram at KellyChoi7. So that's a good landing point for all my other stuff.
Absolutely. And guys, check her out on Facebook. She does some great cooking tips and other things. I mean, she's all well-rounded, amazing, and we're very, very happy we got to have her on tonight and look forward to having her again. But we're going to call it tonight. This is BleedTV, and I'm Zack.
And I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And I'm Kelly.
And we're going to call it tonight. See y'all next week.
Thank you, guys.